systems are offline.
Right. Hello, Facebook world. Hello, everybody. It's Monday night. We're slightly delayed, as always. It's my fault. It's completely my fault. Poor Dee had this organized way back, and I had to keep cancelling and reorganizing. So it's my fault we're on a Monday night rather than the typical Saturday or Sunday night that we do podcasts. So it's completely my fault. So this one is going to be interesting. This is going to be our little bit of a fight podcast. We're kind of going to be ripping off Joe Rogan and everybody else. We're going to be talking UFC. We're going to be talking MMA, and we're going to be talking with the fighting pride of Bantry in MMA right now, even though she's up in Dublin. But that's okay. We let her pass on that. She is basically Bantry's version of Holly Holmes, and I would not like to take either a punch or a kick in the head from her. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, Miss Dee Begley. Dee, how are you doing?
Very good. How are you, Taryn?
I'm very good. Very good. How's life up in the big smoke treating you?
Yeah, really good. I'm just happy to be kind of back up here, back doing my thing, you know. I was down in Bantry for lockdown. It was unreal. I was doing a bit of training down there. But it's nice to be back with the team and kind of, progressing again.
It gets lonely when you're training by yourself all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah, in fairness, Grania, my little sister, was coming down to the school with me, doing a few home workouts and doing some sprints. I'd say she's delighted I've gone back to Dublin, to be honest, because I'd say she was sick of coming down with me, the poor thing.
That's what little sisters are for. They are walking, talking combat buddies that you can just beat up for free. That's the joys of being older.
Yeah, but she's well able to give it back anyway.
Yeah. She's past that stage of just beating her up for free, is it now? You get your own back now.
She's a world champion, junior world champion kickboxer, so I have my work cut out for me.
Now, that's always good. Keeps you on your toes, I suppose.
Always good.
So yes, right, we must get into this now, and we're going to talk. It's going to be very laid back. I know you're very worried and a very shy person that you are. I'm only joking. You're not shy. I know. So it's okay. So we're going to be talking fighting and all things MMA, and we're going to be talking kickboxing. Now, it's your mom's fault that you get all these black eyes, isn't it? It's completely your mom's fault. You can never turn around and say that next time you get injured, you can turn around and go, well, Mom, it's your fault. Tell everybody how you managed to get stuck into this game.
So my mom had us doing cross-country running and athletics since I was tiny, since I was like 4. And in the winter time, we used to train indoors, and she was late. Like, she's always late. She'll be late for her own funeral, like guaranteed 10, 15 minutes, 20, always late. So I saw them doing the kickboxing after our training, and I was sitting there for about 20, 30 minutes watching them, you know, the likes of Lily, Tony, Dominic and all them. And I was like, oh my God, that is so cool. Like, I need to give it a go. So my mom was like, yeah, you can try it, no problem, thinking I'd give it up after a week or two. And I loved it. Like, I fell in love with it and I kept it up. You know, I was big into GA at the time, and I played basketball, tag rugby, and they all just kind of fell away over the years. You know, I just kept going with the kickboxing, and you know, it's kind of led me to here now.
So, you kind of have to make that choice when it comes to it, doesn't it? Like, fighting is a different type of sport. It's not like any other sport where if you don't put the effort in, you get hurt. It's that simple. It's not like you've got someone else to fall back on, or anyone else that can sort of take.
There's no team. It's very much like it's all on you, and like that. Yeah, you're getting into a cage, or like that, stepping onto the mat, and if you're not prepared, like you will get hurt. You know, and the stakes now, you know, are a lot higher. Like, you know, it's not a case of, you know, it could be anything, broken bones, elbows, you know, your face. You saw, you know, the way some of the fighters come out of the cage, you know, and you just don't want to be that person who, you know.
So, no, it doesn't hurt then, though, and it doesn't hurt when you win, but when you lose, it really hurts.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
Yeah.
The ego hurts more nearly than the scars and the bruises and the black eyes and the swelling.
It does, yeah.
It still hurts.
Yeah, it takes a lot to come back from loss. Like, I lost my first professional fight in Canada last September, and like that, you know, like just, all the prep was done, couldn't do any more. And when you're after putting everything in, like all the work, and you come out and you lose, and you're like, oh, why did I lose? Where did I go wrong there? But you look back, and it wasn't. There were no big gaps. It
Mm.
wasn't. I wasn't outclassed. It was these small little adjustments. So I think once you kind of like my coach, I'm sure a lot of people have read his book. It's like it is that win or learn like
Yeah.
mentality that like you have to take something from, and like that. If I had gone in and not prepared and lost, then I could turn around and fault like, oh, I didn't put in 100%. It's all on you.
Hmm.
So yeah, a lot of accountability there.
No, you have to tell everybody who your coach is. It's not just a regular coach by any chance, is
Not
he?
just a regular coach. No, my coach is John Kavanagh. So he's
Mr.
also
John
coach to
Kavanagh.
the notorious Conor McGregor.
Do you bump into him when he's up in the gym? Does he pop in, say hello, buy ice
He
creams for
has, yeah,
everybody?
not since his retirement now, to be fair. So this one could be for real because he hasn't been in the gym. But yeah, he does, and you know what? He's an absolute gentleman. I've been sparring in the cage, and you can hear him like giving you advice through the cage door, like, and he's really friendly guy. Every time I see him, Heidi, like he'll stand and chat with you. Yeah, just a real solid guy, like and it is all that like media portrayal now of
Mm.
selling the character, and but like he wouldn't be where he was without all that. So you have to kind of look at like the way he promotes himself. Did he take some of that from the WWE and how they promote themselves as these alter egos, under different names, that they're just it's not really them, it's they're acting like.
Yeah, you don't sell fights by being quiet.
No, no,
And
like
at
that.
the end
look
of the
at
day,
look at Jorge Masvidal, you
yeah,
know
yeah, you have to.
uh
You have to.
that's
Being
it.
the quiet one doesn't work in this game. Like you have to be, yeah, like he says, he talks the talk, but he has to walk the walk as well. Like, and in fairness, loudmouths in this game make a lot of money.
They do. They make a lot of money. And like not only that, like they, when you start becoming, even talking like that, you become more confident in your
Mm.
own ability. And it's not even, sometimes it's nearly just portraying the confidence you have already. Like I know I'm like the best in the world. So now it's
Mm.
like I need to like I need to show everyone that I'm the best in the world.
Hmm.
So and then like by talking and getting your name out there, you're you get more, say, like followers on Instagram, you get noticed by more
Mm.
promotions, and then you start going up the ladder and working your way up.
Yeah, and that is it. Like it's. Do you know what? You have to be kind of a salesperson. You have to sell yourself first, and then your fights have to back you up. Like you have
Yeah,
to. It's kind of right. Well, here's me. This is what I can do, and my product is I'm about to kick the shit out of absolutely anybody that gets inside the ring with me, or the cage, I should say. And that's your product. Your product is putting on a show, and like nobody would go to a movie if they didn't see a trailer. You know what I mean? So like
yeah,
you've got to talk the talk, walk the walk, and build up and make sure you're excited because like you can put an awful lot of pressure on yourself by talking as well, which you can either answer or not. And if you don't answer it, you get your head kicked in. And if you do answer, hopefully you get your hand raised. They're
yeah.
kind of the two outcomes with fighting when it gets down to it, really.
Yeah, yeah. You're nearly better off bigging yourself up, because if anything, it's that mental thing in your opponent's
Mm,
head. Because like fighting is just as much as getting in the other person's head as anything. That stare down after the
mm.
weigh-in. Everything you're putting up on social media, like you can guarantee they're watching that.
Of
Like
course they are.
they're like, whether it's their coach, whether it's them, a friend of theirs. Oh, did you see your opponent put up this? Oh, hear what she's saying about you. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot more of that in MMA than like there ever was in kickboxing. Like you can almost say kickboxing was much more, I don't want to say respectful, because all fighting there's that aspect of like having
Hmm.
you respect after the fight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um I think kickboxing, it was more that like solemn approach, that like you just believed in your, like that in your prep, and it was more competition tournament based, that you didn't know who you were going to be up against.
Yeah.
So it's not like you could, talk
Plan.
to like, yeah, exactly.
It was almost like, so who weighed in at what time, and what was the weights and who was dodging who. You wouldn't find out who you're fighting until the draw was nearly done. Like,
That was it. That's exactly it. Yeah. And there always is, especially, on an Irish level more than anything, because there's so few elite, like any
mm,
of the elite fighters were really the elite. So there was very little competition unless like that someone was to go, moving weights around, and that's when the dodging starts.
mm,
Once you go abroad, you don't really have that like opportunity. You're in with who you're in with, and you just like that. You're fighting the best in the world, so and you've no choice. Whereas like MMA now, you can like someone won't take a fight. Like I'm finding it really really hard at the moment to get my next professional fight because I'm an MMA fighter, a female MMA fighter
mm-hmm,
who came from a striking background,
mm-hmm.
which is like more unusual than someone. Most female MMA fighters come from a jiu-jitsu background,
Or
have done a
taekwondo,
bit of
or yeah,
wrestling, taekwondo, or, very, or maybe boxing, but like that, like K1 style, those
mm,
strikers, um, you can see them like, everywhere. Joanna Jerdinjic, I can't
yeah,
pronounce her name.
yeah.
Like
Wow, we were going
she's
to talk
that like
about that in a while.
yeah,
Yeah, but
she's that Thai style kind of
yeah,
K1, and she's dangerous, like,
oh, she is
and
vicious.
yeah, Valentina Shvenko, she's
Yep.
another striker, like don't get me wrong, like she is a great ground game, but like they're strikers, and they're dangerous, and you can see them at the top of the divisions, like.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And like, it's MMA is kind of, I don't know. McGregor made it a striking game. I think that's what he tries
Yeah,
to do. Is he tries to draw people to his strengths. Like we all know, like it's his one. Well, I wouldn't say his weakness, but it's the kink in the armor is the ground game. But yeah, he kind of just draws the fight to someone. He
yeah,
drives them so demented that they want to punch their heads in. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And like that helps. That helps. But you see a lot of K1 guys going into, you see a lot of K1 fighters going into MMA now, and they have the balance of the kick and the striking. But yeah, if you talk to Joe Rogan, it's only jiu-jitsu, it's only jiu-jitsu, it's only jiu-jitsu. That's the only thing that works in MMA is jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu.
yeah, and then you
Um,
see all the KOs, and you're like, is it really jujitsu though? All the exciting fights. You see Ben Askren get KO'd by a flying knee from Masvidal. Like,
yeah,
did anyone know who Masvidal was before that happened?
no, he was
McGregor.
actually fighting in LA, like.
Yeah, that's it. And now he's a title fight against Usman, the top of the division.
Yeah,
After basically he just KO'd Ben Askren. Who
and then he
is
won
this
the
grappler?
BMFA
Who is
belt
this?
then
Yeah,
against Jesus, my head's gone. See, this is what happens when I do podcasts on Monday. My head just goes. um, who do
Gastelum.
you want? Who?
Kevin Gastelum, was it?
No, the
No.
BMFL. Oh boy,
Oh, Nate Diaz.
yeah.
Yeah, the
How the
BMF.
fuck did I
The
forget
BMF.
his belt?
Oh,
Jesus,
that was an exciting fight. I
that
loved that
was
fight. Like,
that was a great
proper
fight.
like
But my
stand and take it. Like,
Yeah, and that was the problem with that. I always thought the UFC, like you can't stop a UFC fight for a cut, and like it was that one over the left eye that really damaged it. And sure, like
yeah,
Diaz is just, you could beat him with a 2x4 and a shovel and he'd still get up, like,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I
But
mean?
it's the difference between the cut being above the eyebrow and
Yeah,
below the eyebrow.
below the eyebrow. Yeah,
It's just,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's too much, the blood's going straight into your eye, like they have to, and your eye starts
And
closing.
your eyes start to close and you try to
No,
blink out it and all that. And you try touching it,
yeah.
it doesn't feel like your eye is out here. And yeah, been
No,
that soldier. It's different. It's a different type of feeling. And then it twingles all the time when you try to sneeze the
yeah,
next morning. Then you're like,
yeah.
yeah, it's very, very bad. But hang on, we'll get there. We'll get there. Why did you turn pro? Why did you just loved it? Just said, why not?
So I had it in my head. So I like started MMA kind of out of nowhere. I had always said no to it, to like the friends of mine who'd been at me to start and who I ended up training with. And then when I started and started competing, I realized how, I took like to the wrestling really naturally. Like I'm in the gym now in Dublin, and to be honest, like because my striking's so good, I'm working on is my wrestling. and I'm turning into that, like, high explosive, but I went pro because I realized how good I was, and kickboxing, I'd fought at that elite level. There's no sign at the moment, it's not going to be in the Olympics anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I always had a dream of like fighting for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're down in Bantry and was training, and it was just a dream because like there were
Mm-hmm.
no opportunities for me to do it. And then when I moved and started training in Cork and I started doing the MMA, I was like, oh, like my coach was a pro fighter and he made money from fighting. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the first time I'd ever heard of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu was when I walked into the MMA gym and forced to do it for 6 months. And, it just kind of reignited that love I had for fighting from
Mm-hmm.
kickboxing that kind of went away, when I moved away
Things
from
become very
Ian and
mundane,
Lily.
and
And
yeah, the
yeah,
same
you know
thing
what? I
day in,
started
day
work.
out.
I
Yeah.
started work in the bank, still
Mm-hmm.
working in the bank, but started working in the bank. And, I went home in the evenings and I go to the gym myself. And I was like, this isn't enjoyable at all. Like, I
Yeah.
hate going to the gym if I'm not doing it for like MMA, boxing,
Mm-hmm.
kickboxing. If it's, I'm allergic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I started, I started getting a lot better, and I was wrestling with mostly guys and like sparring with mostly guys in Cork. And, I started competing. I won my first amateur fight by guillotine.
Ooh.
I won, yeah, submission. I'd been doing jiu-jitsu 6 months, and I had a bet on with my coach. I was like, oh, if I, submit her, you like, I think it was something like where you would buy me drinks or something like really casual, like, because I didn't think it was going to happen either. But
Yeah.
I fought a weight category up from what I should have been fighting.
Huh.
I fought at 61, which I would have fought in kickboxing 60 kg.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're like throwing someone around, there's a lot more to the weight difference.
Mm-hmm.
So this girl, I was beating on the feet, her eye was swollen up. But like in amateur, it's all about, if she got one takedown per round and I didn't get a takedown, she'd won that round, even though I'd like killed her on the feet. That's
So they were
it's like
scoring it.
amateur, they score the takedowns. They score them big, and
Ah.
how long you're on the ground. So in fairness, the first 2 rounds, she took me down both times, and I got up, after about 20, 30 seconds. It was like, I wasn't down for any, long period of time or anything. And then the third round, I had it in my head. I was like, I'm going to lose this fight if I don't stop it. And she was so big, and she just wasn't, she was eating my punches, and she wasn't getting knocked out. It just wasn't happening for me. I tried. And, she went in for like a slappy, single leg. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to try this. So I had it, and I kind of stood there, and I was like, no, I have this grip. I have the guillotine grip. And I could hear my coaches, Dee, if you have it, like, go for it. So I
Lock
just
it.
like jumped
Yeah.
on it. And it was, it took me, like, it wasn't the most beautiful guillotine ever. It wasn't anything stylish. It was like 45 seconds of me like cranking, being like, am I even doing this right? And she eventually tapped. I'd say there was about 15 seconds left in the fight. And yeah, so she was from Norway.
Ah,
So yeah, she was from Norway, and she was meant to be the next best thing coming out of Norway. But
we
look,
stopped
we
it.
could,
Fighting Irish
yeah,
stopped there.
yeah, yeah. Norway or Sweden, it was one of those Icelandic countries. But yeah, so after that, then I was kind of like, oh wait, like I actually have, like, I'm learning stuff here and I'm putting it to good use. So yeah, I just kept, fighting, um, and eventually, got some unbelievable opportunities. I went away to the World Amateurs in 2017. Straight away after competing in the kickboxing, I think I'd come third in the world in the kickboxing. Literally flew from Budapest out to Bahrain, and I made kind of a silly mistake. I fought at like the weight category I'd usually fight at,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to weigh in every day over there. And it was just
Ah,
it was too low to try. It
and
was a bit
keep.
silly out of me.
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
it was a good experience because I knew then, okay, look, if it was a case that I had to weigh in every single morning, that's not the way to do it at.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I lost my first fight to an absolute, like, she was Brazilian. She was unbelievable. She like 8 punches, came forward. She took me down. It was like unreal. She ended up winning. She won in the final against one of my teammates. And then, so yeah, I was kind of like, I came back from that, like battered and bruised ego. And I was like, fuck it. Like, maybe I'm not fucking cut out for this, you know? I was like, what? And then it was like, you lost to the winner, like, who absolutely like battered everyone. And I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I wasn't okay with it. So then that was when I'd moved to Dublin. So I'd moved to Dublin that September. So I'd been there about 2 months. So I didn't really know anyone, didn't really know John that well. Was just training with the girls. Yeah. And yeah, so it was, I think moving to SBG kind of really cemented it for me that I knew where I wanted to go and what level I wanted to be fighting at. Because, to be fighting at that level, you have to be in the best gym in Ireland, and it definitely is that.
It's not a gym known for sort of being for bystanders or second places. It's a gym to
No,
win. Like,
no.
you've sort of put yourself amongst them people, and like it draws the best out of you regardless of anything anyway. It will, like, it just genuinely draws the best out of you.
It does. No, every training session is, to me, like, and everyone treats it the same way. So I train with about 5 or 6 other girls, from Canada, from Croatia, from Germany, all different, another girl from Mullingar then as well. And but we all train together, and it is that, like, you are competitive. You're fighting for your, like, we kind of probably personally have, like, ourselves ranked in the gym, like any gym. Maybe it's not as bad as
Yeah,
the
you
guys
do.
with the
No,
egos,
you do.
but
You
like,
do. You do.
yeah,
Doesn't
yeah, yeah.
matter. You
But
do.
you're it's like, who's like, who's gotten better this week, or we might have, drilled something in training. It's like, who was able to pull that off,
Mhm.
how
Mhm.
many times did I submit this person? How many times did I get taken down? But it's all, like, it's constant, because it's the nature of the sport. Like, you're competing against yourself, you're competing against other people, and like that, you just want to get better. You just want to be the best. So,
You've got to.
every training session is like that, like, mentality of, like, this needs to be my best performance.
Yeah,
Even on my
definitely it
worst
does.
day, I go into the gym and I'm like, no, like, I need to, like,
Work hard every day.
yeah, every single day, every
And you
single
have
day.
to, like
So
we said at the start of this, if you don't put the effort in, don't put the graft in, you get hurt, and you get
that's
hurt
it. That's it.
badly. You don't have anyone else to
Badly.
sort of back you up inside there. You don't have a teammate, or if you're on the piss the night before, you can't turn around and say, "Look, you run on there now with the ball," or "You take it here," or "You take it there." It's, yeah, I'm gonna get punched in the face for what
Yeah.
three, are they
Yeah.
5 minute rounds, or are they 3 minute rounds?
3 5 minute rounds
Three
at
fives,
professional. Yeah, yeah. Pro fights, 3 5 minute rounds.
3 5 minute rounds.
Amateur, it's 3 3s.
Is it three threes
Yeah,
in amateur?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, three
Actually, the
five. That's
five
a
minute
long time.
rounds, 5 minute rounds suit me a lot better. So,
Really?
yeah, if you were to ask now, Lily, I always finish way stronger, and I'm so slow to start. So the first round, I'll be like sussing someone out, and then, it's probably the last minute of, say, a kickboxing fight that I get stitched on. So, the MMA long rounds, like, suit me. I can just keep going and going. It's, yeah,
That's all the cardio done.
love it.
So
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that explosive and being able to, like, it's a mixture of both. Like, yeah, anaerobic, aerobic, whatever. But it's good. It's good. We won't go
Well,
that in depth. I'm
we
not
don't go.
going to, like, start boring you about
We don't have to go into
we don't need to go there. Yeah.
that. It's all that cross country back in them days. Your mother was setting the seed all the
Oh,
time, building you and building you.
yeah. I used to, like, lick soap to pretend to be sick to try get out of those cross country running races. I said it, and she's like, no, do you really loved it? I was like, I really didn't. It was, like, wet and mucky, and, like, I'm not a tall person by any means. So the muck was definitely up to my knees. And you're asking a, like, 5, 6, 7-year-old to run, like, 1,000 meters, like, around a mucky field. Like, nobody wants that.
Your poor mom's getting an awful amount of abuse on this now. In fairness to her, she's a
Oh,
lovely
yeah.
woman. In fairness,
I
I
leave
know her.
her to the running. She loves it. She's very good at it.
I will see it built you to something though, because like a lot of
She
people don't do their
did.
road work,
She
and
did.
road work is the most
No,
important.
that's
You gotta
totally.
gotta build that engine. Now, so are you still as clumsy as ever? We're gonna have to tell everybody the story about the time you were in my bar
Oh,
and you decided to wreck the entire bar. And this
yeah, no.
could only happen to you, to be fair. Like, and we said it when we said it. It was only Dee could only wreck the bar with this one
Yeah.
shot, and it was only to
Do
try
do
and
we
beer
need
man.
to give the backstory to the
We have to give the
story though?
backstory. I'll let you tell the backstory because you'll be far
Okay.
better than I am.
Okay. So the backstory was I was working in we'll say a hotel in Bantry, and
Advertise it. They're paying. It's the West Lodge. You pay me. That's fine.
yeah. So nightclub was on. Everyone's ordering shots, whatever. Busy, busy, busy. So I was after running out to refill the ice. So obviously hands soaking wet. Literally putting the ice down. Someone was like, "Oh, 3 shots of tequila." I was like, "No problem. I'll get them straight away." So there I was thinking I was like hot chick getting like real fast shots out, and went to pick up the bottle of the tequila, whoever put it above the till in the first place. It was above the till, picked it up from the bottom, and it literally like slid out of my hand onto the till and shattered. It actually shattered. And the whole backstory, then the till was probably worth like what? Like how much are they worth? Like a grand?
1,600 euros.
Yeah. So like there
Yeah.
I was after ruining a till. And so everyone was like, "Oh shit, like, you're in big shit." And it's like, "No, look, wait, we'll come up with a cover story that like, this didn't happen. You didn't break, nothing happened to the tequila bottle. Someone threw a plastic pint glass, because yourself, they had the plastic pint
The plastic
glasses at
pint
the
glasses.
nightclub.
Yeah. That
So
were
some drunk
unbreakable.
person, this is the backstory, some drunk person was after throwing a plastic pint glass at the bar, and it was after knocking the tequila bottle onto the till. So that was the backstory on
Well, you
how the
fucked it now
tequila
anyway,
spill.
because now everybody knows the story now. So we'll all know where that till went.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was the story. And then what happened in my bar? What did you do in my bar?
Oh, so then your bar, we came in, and friends of mine who I was working with in the hotel were after, laughing and joking about it. "Oh, Dee's so clumsy. Like, I don't know how they believed this backstory. How did they ever believe a plastic pint glass broke the tequila bottle?" And then Terence walks along. Terence is like, "Dee, go on, throw a plastic pint glass at the bar. I bet you can't break anything, no matter
Can't
how
break
hard you
nothing.
try. You could not possibly break something." And I was like mortified. I was like, "No, no." And everyone was like, "No, do you have to do it?" And I was like, "Okay, fine, we'll do it. We'll see how it goes." So there I did, picked up the pint glass. And this is how clumsy I was. I went to throw it, like flake it, at the bar. It ended up hitting off the lid of the top of the bar,
Yep.
and going flying down, 45-degree angle, flying down, and smashed a load of half pint glasses.
Yep.
Smashed a
And
load of
knocked
them.
all my wine glasses along the top as well. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
That's what it hit. It didn't hit the lid. It hit the wine glasses on top
Oh, and then
and
went
came
down.
down.
Oh, geez. Worse than
So,
that.
so don't put a plastic pint glass in your hand is the message of this story.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
it's
it.
dangerous.
Yeah.
So it could have happened. So we did prove it logically that it could actually
Yes.
have broken it.
So
We
then
did.
we had plausible deniability afterwards that it definitely could have been done. Yeah.
It was good fun though, to be fair. When I watched
I'm
it,
sure
like,
there's a video. There's a video of
there
that
is someone
floating
might have
around
that
somewhere.
still on their
Someone
phone.
has
Yeah.
that.
Guaranteed it'll be posted underneath this video when we launch it. Yeah.
Oh my
It'll be
God,
like,
I
this is
paid
what happened in
money
the
to see
cozy.
that at this stage. Yeah.
That was a few years ago, so that's fine. It's
Yeah.
grand.
Yeah.
We're past the legal age of that now at this stage. They can't sue us
Yeah.
anymore. We're fine.
No, we're good.
We're good. So you made it all the way up to Dublin. You made it up to Connor's gym and John Cavan and all the lads. That's a big change from Bantry though, isn't it?
Yeah, big change. A lot more kind of characters. Like, not that Bantry doesn't have their own characters, but in the gym especially, yeah, a lot of different characters, and like that. Just a new level. Everyone in the gym has sacrificed a lot to be where they are. So whether it's like the social life, or like that, some of them, aren't working, and some people, like like for me, I'm in Dublin Monday to Friday training. I go to work. I train on my lunch break. In normal times, I train in the gym in the evening as well, and go home, go to bed, and trying to prep food and everything. It's that like level of you need to be as professional as you possibly can.
Mm.
Like everything, the food, everything's weighed out, and because everybody's doing it, and if you're not, then like
You're left behind.
you're at a disadvantage straight
Mhm.
away. So even in training, it's I kept my fitness going over lockdown because I was like, I am not being the most unfit person in training when I go back. I was like, I want to keep all of my strength. So I kept all my muscle. Like, I don't care about what weight I put on. I was just as strong, and my fitness was fairly good going back. So, it's, when you're surrounded by people who are also working as hard as you are at that level, it makes you want to do the same, and
Yeah.
makes you want to be better. So, and you see like that, what like Connor has done for the sport in Ireland, how many people look up to him, and,
Mhm.
he is Ireland's biggest sports star ever.
Mhm.
When you think about it, if you go to every corner of the world and you mention his name, someone's going to know about him.
Mhm. Yeah.
So when you're kind of surrounded by that, and people who are, who were there for his camps and sparred with him for his camps, and brought him to that level, like John, Sergey, you have, and Owen Roddy, those coaches who are those world class coaches, and you have them at your fingertips. Like, you'd be crazy not to put like 100% into every session and pick up every detail you possibly could.
Yeah, it's like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. It's that golden ticket, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Most
really,
people
like,
wouldn't.
I feel that's how it feels. I actually feel lucky to be like to train in my gym, and to even get the attention that you get, from from John, where he's looking at you and he's picking out small little holes that you might have, or adjustments when you're sparring someone, and like that knowledge is worth its weight in gold.
Mm.
There's no you know there's no comparison to that. That, like, he is an absolute like master of what he does. Like, he's an expert. So you know everything he says, like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, why not? Do you know, case
Yeah,
proven. You
yeah,
know, he he
yeah,
has he has he has done sign he's done it. You know,
yeah,
you can't turn around and say anything at all about it. He has he's produced the biggest fighter probably ever to walk the world.
yeah. That's 100% it.
You know, and McGregor can cross any boundaries. He can go into boxing. He could probably go into the WWE tomorrow
Yeah. Oh,
and
he definitely could.
sell
Like,
it out. Like,
Sergey as a wrestling coach is. I'm sorry, he brought my wrestling from like here to here. Like, from when I was training in the gym, he's opened his own gym down in Nace, and like we're traveling down every Tuesday to train with Sergey, because that's how good he is. At what he does. He's like that. It's in the details, and everything, and like that. The the little nudges he gives you, the little, no, do you need to go this way? You need to, all the little details. It's just, when you're
it's not.
surrounded by kind of greatness, you need to appreciate it. And like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, definitely. Like I
yeah,
said, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, golden ticket time. Like if you can't learn there, you shouldn't be there. And if
yeah,
you can't
that's
learn anything, just
exactly.
forget it. Get it out there, because if you can't learn in gym like that, being surrounded by people like that have done it, or that are trying to do it, or are doing it, and you still
Yeah,
can't do anything, then pack it up. It's not for you.
that's it.
Simple.
That's
Uh,
it.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just get out of it. Go play chess or go do something else, because people would die for the opportunities to get inside that gym and to be rumbling and rushing shoulders with people that are doing, and like I said, doing it, done it, and getting there. You know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we're going to talk. Is MMA big in Ireland now? Has it gone huge even on the ladies scene? I know the men's scene is blown up. There's a couple of
So yeah,
franchises that are doing it now and promotions, isn't there?
yeah, yeah. So it has. It's gotten a lot bigger, and there's a lot more. The attendance at the shows has gone up even since like I started doing it. Like, I was at shows in Drogheda where there was like 200-300 people, And then you have a big card in Cork, and there's like over 1,000 people in Neptune.
Yeah.
And that's what it's really turned into. It's like these sellout shows who, they just want to see their like kind of hometown fighters. And, Cage Warriors is after coming back to Ireland, had a show in Cork in July. No, when was that? May? Anyway, somewhere
I thought
earlier
it
this
was supposed
year.
to be in July, wasn't it? Or was it supposed to be this month? I forgot. I remember
Sorry,
seeing
there
it
was one
somewhere.
last year. Anyways, two of my really good friends from fighting, they fought on it. John Mitchell got his first pro win. Really exciting fight. Kind of a Muay Thai style kind of fighter. Really exciting. And the Maguire brothers, then two of them are they've signed to Cage Warriors as well. So hopefully see a bit more of them in action. But you've some really big up and coming names. Like when you see Rhys McKee was supposed to be fighting for the Cage Warriors title. And he was picked up by the UFC 2 days ago for Fight Island. He's gone over to fight Kazmat Kimiev. He fought John Phillips. He's a Welsh fighter who trains in my gym as well. And he was 6-0 going into the fight against John. And John Phillips, like that heavy hitter, they call him like the white Mike Tyson, really exciting fighter to watch. And this guy threw a head kick and immediately went for a double and kept John Phillips down for the whole round. I have never seen anyone dominate like John Phillips like that. It was, he was something else. And like even the commentators say, no matter what fighter it was, like no one would have been prepared for that. It was like kind of that like Masvidal knee. It was so fast that and he came out in the second round and almost did the exact same thing. And he finished him submission. I think it was rear naked choke or triangle. But like that now, Rhys McKee, your man took up no injuries in the fight against John Phillips, and Rhys McKee is fighting him next. I think it's a week's notice. Is it this Saturday or the week?
Saturday? Yeah,
this Saturday. Yeah. So
there's one big card. There was two big cards on Fight Island. There was UFC 2. What was it?
5-1.
Yeah, 251. And there's 252, and in between there was UFC Fight Night then as well, the free one that they do. So this is the big one. There's a Darren Till on this one as well, don't they? I think Darren Till is headlining this one. But yeah, Fight Island. What do you think? Would you like to go?
Oh my God, I'm loving it. I would love to be there. Like I fought in the Middle East 3 times now, and they do it so well. They do it so well. They are, there's such good support over there for MMA. But like not only that, like you see, I follow a lot of the fighters who are over there on Instagram, and you just see like, there's a race car track around the hotel, and they're going down to the beach. They're warming up in like the cage right next to, the beach and everything. And it's surreal. Like I know it's strange times, and like,
but
everything that's happened
with no crowd.
Yeah, I know.
That's
that
strange,
would be strange.
like.
That would be strange. Yeah. But I suppose then there's a lot less external factors. You're not listening. I know, to be honest, when you're fighting, all of that gets faded out anyway.
It does. But you still you can still feed off it, like, and that had to be one of
nobody's hometown, Abu Dhabi, like no crowd. Like it's not like, it's not like Darren Till fighting in London, or Conor McGregor fighting,
Liverpool. Darren Till's from Liverpool. Jesus, he'd kill you.
We'll have to post this afterwards. Post this afterwards. Oh my God. Actually, I should have known that. Yeah, doesn't he say Scouser and all that?
I'm a red Scouser. You'll not hurt me. I do like him though. He's exciting. I do like him.
Yeah, exciting fighter. So
he goes for it.
He does. He really does. He was really unlucky, and his fight, like he got a bad knockout, and came back.
And Masvidal then finished him as well.
Yeah, finished him. He's had a rough time of it.
He's Whittaker now this Saturday.
People. Yeah, that would be an interesting one because Whittaker had, he lost to Adesanya, so it'll be interesting now to see, how Darren gets on there, because if he did beat Whittaker, I would imagine he'd be lined up then at some stage,
He'd
Yeah.
have to. I think he said
Fight
there
the
in his.
loser. Maybe fight the loser of Costa, Paulo Costa, and Adesanya at that point.
I don't know. I don't know. I
Do you
think
think
it.
there's a few more in between?
No, I genuinely think he said it in his sort of the UFC does the training camp ones. What's that one? What's that
Embedded?
segment they do? Yeah, and he says it's only Whitaker and Sanya. He says he doesn't want to fight anybody else other
He
than
doesn't
that.
want to fight anyone else.
Just them two.
Yeah,
Just
there
them
you
two.
go.
And like you're at that level. Like he'd pull a big crowd, Tillwood,
Oh,
like,
he would. He would fill a big crowd.
and
Yeah,
at the end of the day, you're selling yourself, like, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think if he beats Whitaker, but Whitaker's no pushover. Jesus Christ, the
Oh,
man
he's
is like
no
he's like a Greek
experience.
god. Like he's
He is.
you know, and
Yeah,
he
that
can
Maori
dodge, kick,
builders,
and yeah,
essentially.
he's just massive,
Yeah,
absolutely huge. Did you watch the last week's card? What do you think of
I did. I did. I watched
think of
last
the
week's
fights
card.
there?
Some great fights on it. Some great fights. I wasn't too impressed. I suppose we may as well get out of the way with the Holloway Volkanovski fight. The decision there, it was a close fight. Don't get me wrong. And I thought the first one was less close than people made it out to be. I thought Volkanovski was the outright winner the
Aggressor,
first
like,
time around.
yeah, yeah.
The first time around, he chopped the legs. He, closed it in. He didn't give Max Holloway an inch. Whereas I felt this time around, Max was like so much sharper. His his stamina. He went the whole, 5 rounds at like a really good pace, and he looked so comfortable in there. He kept his distance away from the leg kicks. I really thought that was like it was a close fight.
It was a
And
majority decision.
when you're fighting a champion, though, you need to beat them,
Have to knock
by
him
a
out.
big margin. You have
You
to
have to
knock them
knock
out.
him out.
I
Yeah,
agree with that. With anything, you have
yeah,
to.
have to, because they'll
In
always
any
get the nod.
sport,
They'll
yeah, they'll
always get
always.
the nod.
If
You
it's
have to
close,
give
they'll
them
get it. Yeah,
you have to finish them or knock them out. Simple as.
you do.
There
Yeah,
can't be no question to it, because they will always get the nod, and it's very sad, but yeah, they will
yeah,
always get the nod.
they will. Yeah.
And I felt like that's what happened. I think.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
that's
it
what
was.
happened.
I really think it was. It was like I would have given, like the judges' scorecards. I agreed with them to the point of the fifth round. I thought Holloway had edged it.
Mm,
Rounds
I
one and
would.
two to Max,
Mhm.
3 and 4 to Volkanovski. He was just landing cleaner shots at that stage. He got the takedowns. They weren't substantial takedowns, and that was the big thing for some people. But when a fight's that close, you need something to kind of show them apart. And I think
Mm,
that's where he really edged it there. Because the takedown's so clear.
mm.
When it happens, it's not like these small itty bitty shots on the inside. It's you can clearly see someone was off their feet.
Someone's on top.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and yeah. So from that point of view, I would have agreed with the judges' scorecards, maybe up until the fifth round.
Yeah, I had it the same. I had like it was very touch and go. Like I watched it live, and then I watched it again, and I was like going, like, it's that old saying, like, if you're fighting the champ, you gotta knock him out. Like,
Yeah, you got
you
enough
can't
now.
leave any
Yeah,
questions. Like, when I used to fight, we used to always say, never leave it to the judges.
no,
Never leave it to the judges, because if you leave it to the judges, they might hate you, they might hate your club, they might hate your trainer, they might
that's
hate your
exactly it. Yeah,
grandfather's uncle from 400 years ago when they were baiting each other with potatoes and picks, but they'll still remember it, and they'll hold that over you.
yeah,
Don't leave it to decision. Just knock them out, like,
yeah.
just knock them out,
That's
or
absolutely
do
it.
something that makes you clear victory. Like, you have to be
Yeah,
100%, like, because the champ will get the nod. I don't think
yeah.
there'll be a third one, though. I don't think there'll be a
I
third
would
fight.
like to see a third one, but apparently, yeah. Well, saying that, then like you put Max up against anyone else, and I see him as the clear winner.
Yeah.
So I feel like it might be inevitable unless someone else steps up and takes out Volkanovski.
Could
Um,
no one really lining up, though,
there's
realistically.
some interesting fights there. Featherweight, I suppose. At this stage, yeah, actually, you're
Because
kind of
now
right.
Aldo's
That's
gone to
kind of
Bantam now.
yeah.
He got
Aldo's gone down to
dropped.
bantamweight. He got dropped. Yeah, Peter Yan he's a force to be reckoned with. He's some striker.
Some machine.
He real sharp, really like yeah. He switched on, such a good fight IQ. You saw it, like he made quick work of Uriah Faber in a way. Like he's just and he's like an Uriah Faber. I know people were giving out that he'd been retired and came back, but he's an experienced fighter. You know,
Yeah.
he's had a lot of time in the cage, and Peter Yan came in and made him look like that. You know, so
Yeah, the
for
same
it
with
to be
Aldo. Like, I
rested.
think Aldo kind of, like, excuse me for saying this, but I wonder is it time for Aldo to sort of hang up his gloves as like the young fella in the attic down in Bantry telling Aldo what to do. But yeah, I
That's
don't know.
it.
Like he was beat up. He was beat up. Like
He
he really
was.
was. Like, and them punches he took. Like he can't keep
Yeah,
taking them very much
he
longer. Like
really, do you know what? He hasn't been the same fighter he was since the
since
McGregor fight.
McGregor.
I
Yeah.
remember watching the McGregor fight down in the cozy.
Shh.
Um,
We don't do that.
okay,
We
can't say
don't.
that. Okay, but down at a friend's house in Bantry,
Yeah.
they turned off the TV for a second, and everyone nearly missed it because it was
Yeah.
literally over like that, 13 seconds.
13
Yeah,
seconds. Yeah, it was a good night.
yeah, oh,
You
it was
made a
class.
lot of
But I
money. I
don't
made
think
a lot of money.
I I don't think Aldo has been the same fighter since. I think the whole wind came out of his sails there. He
Yeah,
really isn't.
but he
And
had
the
done
drop,
everything too, though. He'd
he
been
has.
champion for
Oh,
10
like you
years.
can't
Like,
take
so
away from what he did. Yeah,
yeah, and that's the problem with fighters. They think they can, like, every fighter thinks he's like he could be 105 and still glove up his hand,
yeah.
and he didn't think he'd get into the ring. Like,
I think the problem for Aldo there is before Connor, like fighters weren't getting paid a lot. You
no,
know, fighters weren't. So Aldo didn't have any of that prize money from those title fights like
yeah,
Connor's getting.
yeah,
So
yeah,
in
yeah.
his head, he's like, I need to try, like,
I need to get
get
that
some of those big money fights in. But like, it's just, one of those things is just, it just came after his time, like really his reign as champion.
money. And it was, and you know what, he kind of brought it to, like, you have to sort of say he's a talisman to that weight division too, because like there was no one beating him, and he was beating
No,
everybody. Like,
everyone.
everybody. Like he's a bit,
Dominantly,
yeah,
dominantly. I think the only one I would have said was close. He had a really good 5 round fight with Mendez.
Mendez. Yeah, they always had a couple of
Really
tussles.
good.
And Frankie
Yeah,
Edgar
they
had
had.
a couple
Yeah,
of times too.
Frankie Edgar was a really good fight. Really,
Yeah,
really good fight.
he had a
Um,
couple. He had a couple of good fights as well. But yeah, I don't know. Fight Island, fighting in front of no one.
I know.
I still even
It,
like the boos though. When I was fighting, I used to love even getting booed. That used to drive me on as much as the cheers would drive me on. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know.
you
Stop.
feed off it.
I'm
Like, and
gonna
then
win just to make you like
yeah,
to piss you off. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah,
fact. And
some
it used to be
randomer in
great.
the crowd you don't even know. Yeah, like,
Doesn't matter. You'd feed off it. It used to
yeah,
be
I'm
great.
gonna ruin your night.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
feed your grandson. Yeah,
yeah.
that was it, and it was fantastic to be fair, and I loved every minute of it. But sadly, I got other things. Other things came
I
along.
know.
That was it, and
Yeah,
we had to hang up. My hands are still in bits, and my body is slowly deteriorating. But anyway, that's a
yeah.
story for another time. So it's all very good seeing it. So it's definitely growing. What fight? You said you were struggling for a fight. Are we going to get a fight this year, or
Yeah,
is
so
that looking?
there's talks of a fight possibly in 4 weeks' time. This is a week ago, so maybe it's
Uh-huh.
5 weeks' time. But this was a girl who wanted to fight me at amateur, but now that it's professional, she hasn't. We've said yes to the fight. John said yes to the fight, so we haven't heard anything back from her. So either she's waiting around for an easier fight, or she's just not taking it. So I've had a lot of that. Even before the lockdown, I was supposed to be fighting in April in Florida, and the promotion really wanted me. They're like, yeah, we're going to get Dee a fight, 100%. We want her
Mhm.
there. Um, and then they found one girl. I'd say within a few days she dropped out. Found another girl. Like it was like a week. She dropped out of the fight, and then yeah, then lockdown happened, so the card didn't go ahead anyway. And now we're kind of looking at there's a promotion on possibly looking to get me matched for October, but it's just really at this stage about who's willing to take the risk
Take
and
the
take
fight.
the fight. So yeah,
It's a kind of
for
a good
someone with
position to be
an
in.
0-1 though
Record.
record, it's really frustrating being like,
Mm, yeah.
it's getting to the stage now where I've taken all my boxing videos down off Instagram. I'm like, I'm gonna have to start taking old kickboxing videos off YouTube or something. I don't know. Like it's just getting to that stage where it's
It'll come.
really annoying.
It is disheartening though, because you can kind of go, "Oh fuck, I just want to fight. Just give me somebody." And then the only problem is then there's two ways this could happen. You could either take a fight and get hurt because you just want the fight, or you can take a fight and win it and go, "Oh fuck, I have to wait another 6 or 8 months for that." Or else you can take a fight and it will just catapult you then into the big time.
Yeah. That's this is probably where it's going to come in. Like, there's going to be no easy fights for me. I'm not fortunate enough that I'm going to be able to get these, like, padded. I'm not going to have a padded record, unfortunately. There's going to be no, like, I'm not going to be able to fight anyone who's also making their pro debut. I think I've kind of come to the terms with that. And like, I've spoken to my manager and he was like, yeah, Dee, whatever you end up doing, it's going to be against someone who's fairly, like, that girl I fought in Canada was 3-3, but she was like, oh, if I win my next 2 fights, I'll be in the UFC. She's like, Canada, she's like, one of the top female fighters coming out of Canada at the moment. It's literally, and so it's tough. Like, I'm happy knowing that I'm at that level though. When you're not outclassed by someone, and it's more like unluckiness than anything. Like 4 fights, like 4 weeks notice. Yeah, just be really patient. I'm kind of just, listening to Jan, like, believing in, the training and, sticking by, what I'm doing. So I'm focused on me. Once I see progression in the gym at this stage, I'm like, that's progress. And like, the fights will come. Like, patience,
There's always people looking for fights. Don't worry about that.
Always, yeah. And I'll tip away with the kickboxing. There's
the ring rust off.
Yeah, exactly. And it's probably the best thing for me, because a lot of the girls are waiting around in the gym for fights, and they're saying that's one thing they're worried about. And I'm like, yeah, I had a fight in March in Dublin K1, and so, like, and I felt terrible during the fight. And that was ring rust. I was like, this is what it feels like. So I knew what it felt like, and I was like, I do not want to feel that in an MMA cage. I will never, like, that's where you get hurt, is where you're not used to it. So in our gym, like with John, you book the cage, you schedule your spars, and it's everything as much as a fight as it could possibly be. That's your sparring day. You come to the gym, you do your warm up. He even has the fake wallpaper of a crowd behind the cage.
Yeah. Just to keep your eyes adjusting to the people around you and stuff like that. Yeah.
My mom, actually, I'm going to take the piss out of her again. She was like, how many people watch you spar? I was like, Mom, that's clearly wallpaper.
Oh, your poor mother.
I was like, oh.
Is your mom on Facebook, is she?
She is.
She's probably watching. Mom, if you're watching, comment. If you're watching on us below, comment, say hello to us.
I know.
Mom.
I'll say her later. She's brilliant. She's actually, do you know what? When I was down home, and there'd be evenings where I felt like crap and I didn't want to train at all. And she'd be like, oh, Dee, do you want to come out for a run? And I'd be like, okay. More to, like, keep her company. But, like, she was like, it was more her actually dragging me out of the house. Like, I thought I was doing her a favor, but she was doing me the favor by putting it in my head. I'm so stubborn. I'd be like, fuck it now. She'll give it. Like, she'll be taking the piss out of me later if I don't go for a run. She's like, oh, you lazy.
You call yourself a fighter. You call yourself a pro. You couldn't even run to the Abbey and back. What are you doing?
No, have you ran over the back of where we live?
Where do
you live? Viewing area. The top of the viewing area.
Seskin,
yeah, the top. So that's where we live. So you have to run up that last hill all the way up to the mat, and all the way down. And so you run 2.5K. 2.5K. You run 2.5K that way, and 2.5K back. I have never ran a route as awful as that.
I do from my house here, which is on Glengarriff Road, up. Come up the other side of the Bakeen. If you go up Bishop Lucy Place and come around and come down by the Bakeen and then go out by the Abbey and come back in the Abbey, it's 5.2. It's a very nice run, especially in the morning. It's very, very nice. But there's a lot of hills though, and the hills are
the hills are rough.
Hill sprints, I remember them. Oh, I remember on the back road to the West Lodge there, where there's sort of, you come down off a very steep hill and you go up one.
Lily was telling me about that. Yeah.
Oh, on a Sunday
Right.
morning, I'd be puking.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
puking. Nothing worse than doing 15 hill sprints after doing your run and then being timed at the
No.
top of it. Yeah, I remember my coach just laughing at me, and I'm literally puking over the hedge into someone's house. I just
I
couldn't.
know.
Yeah,
And you wonder sometimes, why do you put yourself through it? And it's like, oh, I just love it. I don't know why.
you do. And
That's what I think. Before, those like pre-fight nerves and all that. I honestly, I turn around and look at myself and I was like, why did you do this to yourself?
yeah,
Why? Like, why did you put yourself in this position that you have to go in? And then I'm talking to myself and it's like, no, you love it, you love it. And then I come out afterwards, win, lose or draw, and I'm like, I wouldn't have changed that thing. I'm like, I'm going to do this again and
yeah.
again.
It's a pure adrenaline thing though, and it
Yeah.
really is. Like when that bell goes or the siren goes or whatever it is, like when you really think about it, it's like, holy shit, I'm gonna get my head kicked in here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it just clicks. You go to a different level, and yeah, I do miss it. There's a lot I've done in life to try and get to that buzz again. DJing, gigs, the whole lot doesn't kick once that bell goes.
You have to do one of those white collar boxing.
See, I can't
now.
I had my book, so I can't do them white collar boxing things.
You can do an exhibition, like you can.
I'd probably die after one round. Forget ring rust. I'd be solid. I would be seized. Never mind ring rust.
I would say a lot of people in Bantry, I'm sure, would pay to see that though.
A lot of people would pay to see me just fucking get knocked out as well. They'd be loving it. They'd love that more than actually come to see me fight, to be fair, I'd say. Jesus Christ. But that's another tale. That's a past life. That's a past life. Right. Who's your favorite MMA fighter right now? Go quick.
Favorite MMA fighter right now?
Have to be a lady.
Currently fighting.
Oh,
a lady. Has to be a lady.
Yeah, you're getting all the ladies' names out there. We don't mind about the men.
Favorite female fighter? I'm going to have to say Valentina Shevchenko.
Yes.
Just her, power, everything, aggression. She's just super sharp.
Nunes is a tank as well, though, to be fair to her.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Nunes. Oh, my God. What she did to Cyborg, though. What she did to Cyborg. People used to talk to me about, like, imagine fighting Cyborg. And I was like, no way. Now I'm like, imagine fighting Nunes. Nah. Like, look at her. Absolute, but the dominance of, like, when she beat Cyborg. And you see, Cyborg turned her heels, went back to Bellator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, them punches she was hitting Cyborg with, like, they were turning her head, like her whole body was getting like that. Like they were.
Jermaine Durandame probably gave her a better fight than Chris Cyborg did. Mm-hmm. And Amanda Nunes went out of her comfort zone, got the takedown, and really, for someone who wouldn't be so jiu-jitsu based, really put it on. I know, look, Jermaine Durandame's ground game was abysmal. It was a white belt. It was hard to watch. It was really hard to watch. Once it went to the ground. But it was a great fight. It just really solidified it actually for me when you look at Nunes as being, she's the next, I think, that Ronda Rousey, that Aldo, that
I never ranked Ronda Rousey. I never ranked Ronda Rousey. Oh, no.
I thought her judo and everything was just crap.
No, I could never. She was such a princess. No, I never ranked her. Never ranked her. No, she was very dominant. But she never, Holly just battered her, and then Nunes just
the jaw, no.
Nunes was honestly, it was like slaughtering a small lamb.
I think though, in fairness to her,
it was Nunes she fought after.
She didn't need to go back. She didn't need to. She could have hung up her gloves after Holly Holm, and she had something to prove, and then to go back, and she didn't need to fight Nunes, and she did, and. I was just delighted that she went to the WWE, made a bit of money for herself, and she's happily retired.
Yeah,
I think it was a good.
I couldn't. I'm a big fan of Holly's. I just big fan of
Holly Holm.
Obviously,
with the boxing, you'd be a big fan.
Yeah,
so
big fan of
it.
Soft spot for Holly, real soft spot for Holly. I do. And that kick. She's got some kick on her for a boxer. She's got some kick.
Yeah. No, she does, and she's that build though. She's really like
Square.
solid, really dense. But yeah, really. No, she is. She's
In
a,
the last
and
fight, she finished
there's
with a
some
KO.
really exciting female fighters. Like even that Weili Zhang fight and Joanna. I can't pronounce her name.
Hold
Anyways,
on, I had it when you were
yeah.
saying it. We
I
were
think
talking about
where is it? Jędrzejczyk.
yes,
Jędrzejczyk.
paycheck. Yeah, that's it. Did
Jędrzejczyk.
you see her face after that?
Oh my gosh, she looked like an alien.
Yeah, it looked
She
like
did.
it
The poor
looked like
thing, like
just
oh
her whole face was just down here.
yeah,
And oh man, that was some
I
punches.
know.
She hit some serious
Yeah,
right
it
hand to
was
the
a
top of the skull.
really, I really enjoyed that fight though. It was that kickboxing kind of fight, trading blow for blow. And I think at the end of it, it was like Willie Zhang just kind of put the pressure on in the opening rounds and like really wore like Joanna down. And
Takes a
it
lot
was a
to wear her
great
down.
fight
She's a great
for women's MMA though.
yeah.
You know,
Like people said it was the best fight of the year. It's been the best fight for a long time,
long
regardless
time,
of gender,
long time.
female or male. That's a super fight. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because they went at it.
they
Like
did.
there
No,
was another fight that it was something like that was oh man, this I should not do podcasts on Monday nights. Oh, it was actually the first fight with Nate Diaz and
Conor McGregor.
Connor.
The trilogy.
It was the one
No, the
before
second
that.
fight.
No, the first fight. It was the one
Oh,
where Diaz strangled McGregor. It was the fight before that where he had his lip like literally busted out here. Oh God Almighty! His shaved head. People are probably screaming at Facebook
oh,
now.
Perez.
No, not Perez.
No,
No, no, no,
Anthony
no.
Perez.
Oh, no.
Um,
Fucking hell! Someone on Facebook has
for
to come around and give me the
Facebook.
name. They fought that night, and it was literally a bloodbath.
I'll Google it.
Absolutely, you're gonna have
I'll
to
Google
Google
it
it.
because
Oh my
yeah.
See, if I was
So,
Googling this now, I'd have to put you in full screen. So then people wouldn't see me working behind. So if anyone ever sees me full screen, was it?
oh, wait, it's not Filmmakers. The first one.
As soon as you say it, oh man, that is ridiculous. Who is it?
There's
Uh,
no one popping up here. Sanchez.
that was the same
No.
day Holly Diaz won or Holly Diaz. Holly
Holly Holm. Oh
Holly Holm
yeah,
won the
it
fight.
is that card. So
That's that card. And
main card. The main card. Holly Holm. There's a GN Volante, Ilir
no, it was the
Latifi.
fight before, or was it? Was it the Mendez? Was it Conor McGregor and Mendez fight? It could have been Conor McGregor's and Mendez
Oh,
actually.
that was an outstanding fight.
That was a great fight
That
too. That
that was
was
an
a
outstanding.
serious,
That
serious
was that
fight.
fourth round TKO from
Yep,
Conor. But up
Conor.
until like it was so good.
Yeah,
That was, I think, one of the best fights I've seen. Conor, and the Alvarez fight was outstanding as well.
Alvarez fight was absolutely brilliant. Like
Yeah, it was that.
that was literally. I think I have it here now. Hold on a second. I can see the two of them. He was actually just choked out a couple of months ago back along, and he wasn't passed out. Remember the referee gave it to him, and he thought he would
Oh,
choke.
Lawler,
Lawler,
Robbie Lawler.
Robbie Lawler, and uh, what's the other guy's name? He went to Bellator straight after that
Oh,
fight.
Roy McDonald.
Ah,
Those fights
thank you.
were
That
those
was it.
fights were
Was that the
outstanding.
Mendez one or was that the Aldo one?
No, I think it must have been. It was a different one, definitely. That was an outstanding fight. I think that has been. I think if someone had turned around and said, "What like fight could you watch over and over again?" and it would be that one. Like,
Yeah. Them
oh
two boys left it, and it was like that. It was like that jet cake fight. That was the last time I've seen two people go like head to head all the
yeah,
time at it. Like, it was serious. It
yeah,
really,
it's
really
so
was. It was serious. Right. So you're going to be our UFC lady. We're going to check in with you every now and again whenever there's a big card. And whenever
no
you're
problem.
fighting, we're going to make sure that everybody knows you're fighting as well. So we're going to try and do the best we can to promote you all the way down here in my attic in Bantry. But we're going to make sure that we have loads of people following your fights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you're anytime there's a big fight, but yes or no, McGregor going to come back?
Yes.
I think he has to. I think he has to do two
Yeah.
fights. He has to
He
end
has
the Nate
to.
Diaz thing. He has
I
to
think he has to.
batter Khabib and be done with it.
It's not
That's
going to
it.
be this year. It's not going to be this year because of COVID and everything. I
Yeah.
just, I think Dana White is, telling the truth when he said he can't sacrifice the McGregor gate. Because
No,
even the pay-per-views for Masvidal and everything, considering we're in lockdown, it was still like fifth behind like all the McGregor fights. You know, it was
Do you know what?
basically, you know.
Do you know how can you like?
Yeah.
That's
And
a
the
really
gate they get off him is just, you know, no one else, like, as in, I will not wake up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning for anyone but McGregor.
yeah,
Anyone,
yeah.
maybe, don't get me wrong. If my friend Katie now was fighting over in America, I'd probably wake up. I'm not sure, but
A different
but like
story.
apart from that, like I would watch Conor McGregor fight at like
I
4 or 5 o'clock in the
yeah,
morning.
yeah.
You know,
There's big talk of going back over to boxing to see if he'll do that. I think he
he
just has
keeps like calling out Manny Pacquiao. I see these like sneaky little Twitter kind of back and forth, and
no.
oh,
I don't. I think he just has to answer them 2 questions and retire. Finish them 2
yeah.
fights. Finish
Don't
Diaz.
get me wrong. He's an outstanding boxer, and I think
Yeah.
like he did a lot better against Mayweather than a lot of people thought he would.
Still punched more
But
times than anybody else
at
he's
the
ever fought.
same time, I feel like he has unfinished business as well with Khabib. I think it needs to happen.
Has to happen.
Um, and like for the camp he did, and for I think he's a different animal when he's a proper camp done.
Yeah,
And I just see him beating Habib the next time going. Like, you know,
yeah.
I feel like
Like
he has himself.
it was McGregor 60% the last time. Was he even
Yeah,
60%? I wonder. Like, you know, he
yeah,
was just that fucking. You'd see him out partying all the time, and he knows it himself. He knows himself,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
to demolish Cerrone like that. Like Cerrone's a tough,
Oh,
tough
he's a tough fighter.
fella. Like,
That was actually another good fight. Cerrone and Anthony Pettis' fight.
yeah, that was very good.
That was a really good fight. It was
That was
good.
very, very good.
I actually didn't agree with the decision there. I thought Cerrone had done enough to win that one.
Yeah, I thought so too. I genuinely,
Yeah.
I thought the same. Like there was a lot of scoring there. I think Dana's at the sacking a couple of the referees now for this card.
Yeah, he needs to sack a few more after last weekend. Yeah. I'm so
Yeah,
harsh, but like, yeah, but I see it like even on the amateur shows, and I can't, and even in kickboxing, I can't stress enough how important it is for like judges to all be on the same page and like how they score. So like, if I was scoring a fight, obviously I'm going to be looking more at the kickboxing or the striking. But that's wrong. Like I should be looking at it from what is it? Damage,
pressure.
the control, yeah, pressure, control, like who's dominating the fight, dominance, damage, and there's something else. But like that's how you should get a fight. It's that pro style scoring, you know, like from the boxing and stuff. 10-9 rounds, and you can't just be looking at like, you know, significant strikes and all that. It's like who controlled the fight, who caused the most damage. So like, yeah, like some judges do need to be, they need to go.
I think judges also need to be fighters to a certain degree.
I 100%, yeah.
They need to know what's happening because there's a lot of it goes like I remember years ago when I was fighting. It was like don't bother going for body punches because they don't score them, they don't see them, and like you can't
Yeah,
not go for body punches. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
look, different times
Because
and
a
different.
body punch could stop someone.
Oh yes, I've stopped a
You could
couple
stop
of
someone
fellas
with a body punch, and like people aren't throwing them because they're not being scored, you
score.
know. So
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
you can shake off a head punch, but you will not shake off a body punch, like
nope,
because you
nope.
go to
And if you
soak that
catch it,
first
if you
breath.
time it right, yeah,
Yeah,
someone's on the floor, like yeah,
yeah.
no,
I've done that, and it's been fun doing it to other people, and it's happened. Yeah, you get that one into just into the kidney or just above the floating rib there, and it's like,
oh,
oh,
rough,
and you try to breathe after it, and you just can't. You can't
yeah,
end up
no,
game set
no.
match. You just can't. And like I said, you'd always shake off a body, or you always shake off a head punch, but never shake off a body punch. Right, we're going to leave it
No.
on that. We have got the hardest part of our interview. We were talking about this, right?
I'm
We
dreading
were
this.
very nervous. Right, who do you have? Do you think Till's going to win his fight against Whitaker? Come on, tell us.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you going to give it to Till?
Yeah,
Okay, so we're going to
I'm
have
gonna
this
go
up on Facebook, and then we're going to, after we get this out there, and we're going to make it on YouTube and stuff like that. We're going to Monday morning. I'm going to have C was D right on our Facebook.
See you.
And if you're wrong the first time, we'll sack you from our
I know stuff. Yeah.
MMA.
I've tried some of those accumulators, and it's always I go too in depth sometimes.
Yeah,
it's just too, or with one person, like, you know, does something stupid. I'm like, you're such an idiot. You had that fight.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
you go and you know, like, yeah. That's the only thing I bet on is fighting. I don't
Yeah.
bet on horses. I do bet on the Grand National, but I think everyone bets on the Grand National. But I'll bet in the fighting. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bet on that a good few times, and I've won and I've lost. So yeah, it's kind of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. Right, we're almost up. Jesus, an hour and 10 minutes. I told you that'd be quick. See, that was very easy.
That was
Much
very
easier.
easy. Yeah.
Right, we've got the
Please.
hard part here now. Right, this is going to be the hard cards. So, Miss Dee Begley, the fighting pride of Bantry, welcome. This is the hardest part of our podcast. Here we go. Right, so we're going to make sure that it gets up to 10, 15. Right, phone call or text message. Go. Quick.
Phone call. Phone call.
What's your favorite movie?
Oh my God. The Fighter. No, what's it called? That is it? Yeah, go on. What about that?
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
Ooh, I would say I'm a 7.
The strangest
Solid
place,
7.
solid 7, right there. Solid 7. The
Yeah.
strangest place you made a phone call or text message?
Strangest place. Oh, there's nothing fast on that one. I don't know.
Everybody says the toilet.
The shower. The shower. The shower. I've
Texting in the shower.
answered phone calls in the shower.
Yeah. A person who you'd like to have dinner with, dead or alive?
Oh, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
The Rock. Yeah, but sure,
All
he would
day.
eat his dinner
All
table.
day.
Yeah, he would just eat you and everything else around it. Like,
He
you know, the man's a
totally would.
monster. Little ketchup in the fridge or outside the fridge?
In the fridge.
Would you like to live forever or have the power of invisibility?
I'll live forever. Yeah, 100%.
Do you eat soup or drink it?
Oh, drink soup.
And what is the one thing that annoys you the most in the world?
What annoys me most in the world? Oh my gosh. Actually, is it terrible if I say other people's kids sometimes? Is it really bad if I say that? I'm like, handle your kids.
Mind your fucking children, will you? Fuck's sake.
No, that's a bit harsh. I actually love kids. I love kids.
You said it now. You can't take it back. No, time's
Oh,
up.
do you know people who I've actually, and everyone, I think everyone's done this, and I actually hate it. I've been caught out recently for doing this, and I was like, how? Do you know when you are eating a bag of crisps and someone who licks their fingers afterwards? I did it because it was my own bag of crisps, but some people do it to a share bag, and it's not okay.
Double dipping.
It's not okay. Yeah, that's not okay.
We've got one more question.
Probably.
One more question. Mike Tyson, at his age, what do you think?
Oh my God, I would love to see that fight. I would love to be, imagine being at that fight. Like, that would be something else. Obviously, he's not in his prime, but like, I'm sorry, one of the best boxers in the world. Everyone wants to see that. Everyone. And I think, some of those videos he puts up, the only thing I'd be worried about is, like, no, actually, I think once he gets matched up against someone, same age or same level, like, you just don't want him to go up against some young gun who's just going to run rings around him. Like, no one wants that. Like,
he's Mike Tyson. Like, even like you see, he still has it, and that's the thing. Still has it, and like we only had, what was it, 3.5 years of Mike Tyson in his prime.
Yeah,
and that's saying something. You know what I mean?
Jeez,
3.5 years, youngest heavyweight champion in the world. Like,
when you put it that way. Did you see that Tyson Fury's dad was calling him out?
Yeah, come on. Like,
that was like, no.
That's cringe, isn't it?
No, that's cringe. That
is. I did watch the Deontay Wilder and Fury fight, and Fury taught Deontay Wilder a fucking.
Oh, he did. I thought he won the first fight. Like, I was like freaked that, like, but I was loving that. Tyson Fury is just, it's just because, obviously Deontay Wilder, he's like that bad guy. He like has the build, he's ripped, he looks the part. And then you have Tyson Fury comes along singing, dancing, doing his thing. And it just, that brought me a lot of happiness seeing him.
His story is amazing too. His story is fantastic. Like, have
you listened to his podcast with Joe Rogan?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good.
Did you listen to one where he did with Mike Tyson? Have you seen Mike Tyson's podcast?
No, I need to see that one.
Podcast are unbelievable. He does a one with an absolute hero of mine. He does a podcast with Bruce Buffer. Oh, not Bruce Buffer.
Okay.
His brother. Yeah, it is Bruce Buffer. No,
Oh,
Bruce is UFC.
Mike,
Buffer. Yeah,
Mike Buffer,
and
yeah.
yeah, Michael Buffer. He's the let's get ready. Yeah, absolute
He
hero of mine.
won that. Yeah,
And Bruce is his brother, but he does a podcast with him, and you should just listen to Tyson. He's like a schoolboy in it. Like he's just
yeah,
constant knowledge, fighting and stuff like that. And yeah, you should watch them.
yeah.
They're serious podcasts. But Fury's
Great.
story is fantastic. It's
It
absolutely
is. It's a
from
fantastic
like
story. Like,
200 stone to go back to winning the heavyweight championship of the world within what, a year and a half? Is it 18,
yeah,
19 months, something like that? Just boxing ability. His
that was it.
boxing brain is fantastic. And that's it. See, podcast all done. So our very first fight companion. We're gonna keep it locked and loaded. Hopefully, we get some big fights coming soon.
Yeah,
And you have
that would be it.
Till versus Whitaker. And you have Till, yeah.
I have Till. I'm
You
going to
have
give it to
Till.
Till.
Give
I
it to
would
Till,
like
right?
to say Robert Whitaker, but I just think that like Darren Till's kind of back on.
Hungry.
He's hungry. He wants it more.
He does.
I think Whitaker is looking for a few big paydays. He's gonna leave soon, I'd say. But yeah, I'm for Till. Knockout power. We'll go for that.
How would you have it? Win, decision, or knockout?
Oh,
We're really testing your knowledge now.
TKO.
Like TKO.
TKO. Yeah.
That's a very easy one. TKO is anything.
Yeah,
at all,
okay,
really.
KO. We'll go for a KO.
Dee
Yeah.
Begley, a pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this. And apologies again, it's taken us so long to do it because we've constantly been back and forth trying to organize it. Completely my fault. Thank you so much for giving me your Monday night.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again
in a couple of weeks when there's a big fight back on. We'll definitely get you back on. And when you're doing a fight, get in contact with us. Let us know. And best of luck. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Systems are offline.